Now, I'm not gonna lie, I want to re-recording this video because I actually had it halfway done before I wound up dealing with a bunch of issues. But anyways, the game I'm talking about is Mirren Star Legends, which actually shut down. I want to say from the re-recording of this video, maybe 3 to 4 weeks ago. So currently it is unplayable, but I thought I'll go ahead and share my thoughts. Now, be aware, I'm doing this from memory, so I'm probably going to forget some things, but I'm just going to tell you my thoughts on it. Just to give you a quick summary, to me, this was an okay game. This was, I guess you would put it in a category, at least in my category, of like a guilty pleasure or a side game, one that I play, but never really put a lot of stock into. When it came to this game, I mainly played the PvE content. I didn't really play the PvP content, so I think I did it once, but I can't tell you if the PvP content was actually good. But overall, what I thought about the game, I basically thought it was a solid game. I definitely enjoyed it from the time I played it, but I would never say it was one of those top games. But I had fun with it while it was out. Now, the number one thing I remember about this game more than anything else is how so many people, when I went to Reddit or different YouTube videos, basically said this game was DOA. Now, I'm not saying there's not any gacha games that ever had this happen, but this was the first time, me personally, I saw this happen. And it's all because it was published by Crunchyroll. And I realized Crunchyroll has a terrible reputation. Now me, I don't personally know why, because the only other Crunchyroll game, well, gacha game that I ever played was Princess Connect, which I actually did enjoy that game. That game was actually good. I still don't know why that game shut down. But the one that I want to ask y'all, if you watch this video, is why does Crunchyroll have such a bad reputation? I never really looked into it. This is the first time I ever seen it, so I really want to know, like, why does Crunchyroll have such a bad reputation? So if you watch this video, leave in the comments down below because I'm curious. But yeah, that's the number one thing I remember about this game is how everybody was saying it was DOA. So I'll be honest, I came into this game knowing that I was going to shut down. That's why I didn't invest too heavily in this game. One of the biggest issues that I found when starting this game, which they did improve upon it in later updates, was the balancing. There was a major issue with that. Because when you go off and try to complete stages, you'll have your party level and the stage level. And my overall party level will be clearly far higher than the stage levels, and I will still have issue completing stages, and that made no sense. Like I said, they did update it and fix it later on, but when it first started, it just didn't make sense. So that was one humongous issue that I remember. When it comes to the battle system, which you can see it playing on screen, I actually thought it was definitely a pretty cool concept. As you can tell, it's a turn-based game, but how it works is that you have 3 main party members, and each party members have 3 summons. So the main party is called Novas, and the summons are Esters. The best way I would describe it is, it's like Pokemon if the trainers can also fight. Now, don't get me wrong, there's other games that are like this too, but that's the one I think everybody knows, or the majority of people should know of, so that's the best way to explain it. It's like Pokemon if the trainer would fight, which I really like that. But understand this, that the pairings between your Novas and your Esters do matter. Which I actually think overall, I thought this battle system, I actually thought it had potential. I actually like it because I love games where I could play with, actually a better way to say it, I love games that allow me to use a pretty big party. And when you have 12 characters that you could play with on the field at all times, definitely was happy about that. Now, I didn't spend any money in this game, but when I looked at the store, I looked at some of the prices. From what I can remember, some of that pricing was not reasonable. and navigating that store was annoying. Now, going back to the PvE content, now I can't remember all the modes that I play. I do remember there was a lot of modes, there was a lot of content to play. And some side content that you could check out too. So I did like that. I did like there was a lot to do in this game. Now, I don't want to over exaggerate and say this has a bunch of content. It didn't have that much content, but it had a good amount of additional content to play where, you know, you pretty much had things to do and you could spend some time in this game. And I did like that. Again, it's not the most. There's other gacha games that had way more content than this one, but it still had a lot to do. I wasn't bored. That's one thing I did like about this game. The other thing that this game has, which I like in any gacha game, is skip features. And this game definitely has skip features, especially when you're grinding for different materials to grow your characters or build your characters. A skip feature is very important, and this one had it. So that's one thing I would give this game. The skip features were implemented great. So I love that about this game. Now, when it comes to the story and the settings, first I'm going to go ahead and give you the summary that I found on Google. Then I'll tell you what I can remember from it. At least a little bit about what I can remember from it.
For 120,000 years, Mirren was consumed by war until the witch Lilia sacrificed herself for a fragile peace known as the Era of Innocence. Now that Lilia is gone, the ancient darkness is leaking back in, leaving the world's fate in the hands of the Lord Oracle as the steward of Lilia's legacy. The Lord Oracle is the vital conduit capable of reaching into history to summon the Asters, legendary spirits of the past, to link with the Novas, the mortal heroes of today. By facilitating this link, he allows the living to channel ancient power. Yet, the Lord Oracle is more than just a commander. The unspoken recognition from these ancient legends suggests that the Lord Oracle's own story may be an enduring echo across the eons, hinting at a role played long before this lifetime began. To save Mirren, you must bridge the gap between the living and the legendary, sustaining the Song of Innocence before the world plunges back into eternal chaos.
Now, I know I said I was just going to go ahead and read off a summary off of Google, but I didn't really like it, so I did a little bit more research and I went ahead and put that together. So beyond what was mentioned there, what I remember from the story is the Asters remember me. I think we were at peace, but I think it was like strict, if I remember right. And I may be wrong, but I think I remember it was kind of strict. It did feel like in the city that you're in, there were like different factions, and the character you play as was one faction. It definitely seemed like it was like a mystery political story at times. I'm not saying that's what the entire game was, but at times that I felt like it was kind of going down that route. And beyond that, outside of what was mentioned in the same summary and a lot of more side stories that didn't really have anything to do with the main story, that's all I could really remember off the top of the dome. Overall, the story was okay. It wasn't bad. Definitely had translation issues, but it wasn't that bad. It wasn't nothing great, it wasn't nothing incredible, but it wasn't that bad. And there was definitely some interesting parts of it. At the end of the day, after this video, I'm probably not going to remember the story, but for the most part, it was all right. I definitely saw the potential there. And I feel if it lasts longer, I truly do believe the story would have been even better. Now, let's go into the main reasons why I play these games, and that is for the gacha. First, I want to say that there is a weapon gacha, which honestly, that one was horrible. I barely got any weapons I need for my characters, or it took me forever. So I will say that weapons gacha wasn't that good. Now, when it comes to the Novas you get as you play through the game. So there's no gacha for them. You just get them. Now the Esters is where you find your main gacha. And to me, when it comes to the rates, it's actually pretty bad, but here's the caveat. The reason why it isn't that bad is because the pity rate. And if I remember right, the pity system is only 270. So because the pity system is so low, I did wind up getting the majority of the characters that I wanted, but I didn't get every character that I wanted, which I will be going into a lot more detail in the next section. So even though the gacha rate is really bad, the pity system is so good that it kind of makes up for how bad the gacha rates are. So the gacha system in this case, I would say is okay to pretty good. Definitely not the best, but it's okay. So now we're almost done. So for the end of this, right now I'm going to go ahead and showcase all the characters that were on my account so you can check them out. But I still got a few more things to say before we get out of here. Now we're starting with the Novas, and the one thing that's cool about these characters is that these characters you can actually customize. Now I'm probably not going to go into it, but if you look into accessories, in there you can basically add different add-ons to each character. So you can have them wear rings, you can have them wear hats. You can actually give them tails, which I did on some of them, which was pretty funny. You could give them stickers, tattoos, glasses, just random accessories. Heck, you can even change their skin tone. Well, again, you have to have the right accessory, but yes, you can even change their skin tone. They also have a skill tree. I think they actually have a couple of different skill trees in this game, but particularly when it comes to the Novas, they have a skill tree where you could just make them stronger. But once again, if you watched the video earlier, the Novas is pretty much your main party. Now, as you see, I only worked on 3 of them because you can reset them and then put it back into a different Nova. But for the most part, you're really only going to worry about building 3 at a time because of that. And you kind of want to. Well, at least that's what I did. I don't know if you want to do that, but that's what I did. So as you saw, there's not too many of them in the game, and that's why I kind of wish they went on longer, because maybe they would add some more, but there's really not too many of those characters in the game. And be aware, the way you pair them with the esters do matter. So pay attention on how they pair. Now let's go ahead and check out the esters, which the one reason why I wanted to cover this game and do a dedicated video on this game is because this game has some of my favorite design characters in all of gacha. I loved a lot of the character designs in this game. They had a lot of good ones. And that's part of the reason why I am sad that this is going, because again, some of the best designed characters I've ever seen in gacha are on here, and they're going to go away. Personally, if there was a chance for this game to come back under a different publisher, I would love for this one to come back, because this game had a lot of potential. But going back to what I said before, this has some of my favorite character designs in gacha of all time. Some of my favorite ones. And it's because of the character design is the reason why I continue to play. Even if the game never comes back again, I hope, which is definitely unlikely, some company sees this game and comes in and decides to buy the rights to some of these characters' designs and puts them in different games. Because again, some of my favorite character designs in all of gacha you could find in this game. And I would love for them to bring, well, at least to reuse these assets in another game or future project. Or hopefully somebody out there will get inspired and create another game with similar designs to some of these characters that you're seeing on the screen. But once again, this is all the characters that I had on my account before it shut down. Just thought I'll showcase it because I am sad that this one is going, because I really feel like this game had a lot of potential. I really wish this game didn't have to go because I really felt like this game had a lot of potential. But with how bad the reputation of Crunchyroll, I hope another game that I like or has potential doesn't fall into that trap again. Again, I still don't know exactly what's so bad about Crunchyroll, but I will say this is the second Crunchyroll game that got shut down. Although I really like Princess Connect, but I also thought this one had a lot of potential. And I feel like with it being on the Crunchyroll, a lot of people didn't really give it a fair shake. And it sounds like with good reason. This is not a criticism. It just sucks that a game that I feel that had potential didn't give it a true chance because of who published it. And again, this is not a criticism because it could be for a good reason. But anyways, that's all I have to say about this game. I just wanted to cover it because this is probably going to be the last time I see these characters, which sucks because like I said, I really did like a lot of these character designs. So I am sad that the game is going away. And again, this game wasn't that bad of a game. Now, of course, this is nowhere near the best gacha game I've ever played, but it's definitely nowhere near the worst. So I am sad to see this one go because, like I said, a lot of these characters I may never see again. So I just wanted to go ahead, talk about the game, let you know what I thought about it. Because now this game is gone, I highly doubt it's ever going to come back. So this is my last time talking about this game and showcasing it on my channel. Now, of course, you may see clips here or there. I still gotta do a new Mobile Madness intro, so I may actually put some of these characters, some of my favorite characters from this game in that intro, or maybe in a template I'm working on. But with that being said, this is the last time I will be covering and talking about this game on this channel unless some crazy news happens. So again, sad to see this one go. I had a good time with this one, and I don't really have much else to say. Just on your way out, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We're very close to our next milestone, so please subscribe so we can make sure to hit it. And with that being said, I'll see y'all in the next video. Have a good one.